What up, y'all? This is your boy, Mr. Downtown Ray Mello, and you're listening to the Entertainment Report for Wednesday, December 3rd, 2014, delivering some of the major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook or on Twitter, facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Mello, that's RAYMELO, or on Twitter at The Enter Report. You can listen to the show anytime you want on iHeartRadio. Just search for The Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to our page. The grand jury's decision not to indict the police officer who killed Eric Garner using a charcoal during his July arrest has sparked a strong response online. Scandal creator Shonda Rhimes was among those sharing their displeasure by using the hashtag #ICan'tBreathe, a reference to Gardner's final words as New York Police Department Officer Daniel Pantaleo continued to hold him in the chokehold until he died. She also tweeted, "How is this America? #ICan'tBreathe." Netflix raised eyebrows with this tweet promoting the crime drama Peaky Blinders. The tweet had people on Twitter speculating it was a commentary on the grand jury's decision. A rep for Netflix declined to comment. The tweet stated, "Just because you're law enforcement doesn't mean you're law-abiding. #Peaky Blinders." The Fault in Our Stars author John Green tweeted a transcript of Gardner's final words, which were caught on video by a bystander. "Every time you see me, you want to mess with me. I'm tired of it. It stops today. I'm minding my own business, officer. I'm minding my business. Please just leave me alone. I told you last time, please just leave me alone. Please. Please don't touch me. Don't touch me. I can't breathe. 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 I can't breathe." Eric Garner's last words. Actress Mia Farrow wrote and tweeted, "There's no evidence that Mr. Garner was selling cigarettes. He was a father of 5, married for 27 years, a family man. #ICan'tBreathe." Russell Simmons wrote, "Young people are organizing around the country. I am proud of them but please, everyone be safe tonight. #Eric Garner. #ICan'tBreathe." Keith Powell says, "I dare someone to say at Eric Garner deserved to die and the police were just doing their job. I dare them. I double dog dare them. #ICan'tBreathe." Piers Morgan wrote in his tweet, "How can you not indict the policeman for choking to death an unarmed man who screams 'I can't breathe' 8 times? #Eric Garner." And talk show host Montell Williams wrote and tweeted, "I am truly sad thinking about the Eric Garner case. I see the #ICan'tBreathe trend as well. Truth be told, The news comes after last week's decision by a Missouri grand jury not to indict the police officer who fatally shot unarmed African-American teenager Michael Brown. Protesters in New York shut down part of the West Side Highway Wednesday. In a related story, an uncharacteristically sober Jon Stewart struggled to find any comedic spin to put on the news that the police officer who killed Eric Garner used a chokehold would not be indicted. Stewart said, "I honestly don't know what to say. If comedy is tragedy plus time, I need more fucking time. I would settle for less tragedy than comedy, honestly." He showed footage of Garner taken just before his death to illustrate that the idea of having police officers wear cameras might not do much good, since we have footage of the incident in this case and no charges were brought. Stewart said, "We are definitely not living in a post-racial society, and I bet there are a lot of people out there wondering how much of a society we are living in at all." He also added, "I don't know what to say. It just happened, so I have not had a chance to digest it." New York City police officer Daniel Pantaleo killed Gardner during an attempted arrest in July. Gardner repeatedly said that he could not breathe as Pantaleo continued to hold him in a chokehold. Stewart ended the discussion of the Gardner case by simply screaming, "Fuck," Wrath of Khan style, while raising his arms in the air in frustration. The Daily Show was off the air last week when the news that the Ferguson police officer who killed Michael Brown was not indicted. Stewart managed to find a little humor while talking about the case by riffing on the petty fights that had erupted in the media in the week since. Seth Rogen was paid more than $8.4 million and his co-star James Franco received $6.5 million for their new film, The Interview, according to a Bloomberg report, which says the figures among the cache of files that hackers have stolen from Sony Pictures Entertainment and which they are now decimating to the press as they release a steady stream of sensitive documents. The report further says that the movie, on which Rogen also served as co-director, as well as one of the writers and producers, cost $44 million. The Interview, a comedy in which Franco and Rogen played TV journalists who are drafted by the CIA to assassinate North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, is scheduled to open Christmas Day and has been condemned by North Korean officials who have dubbed it an act of war. That also leads to speculation that North Korea or other hackers sympathetic to that country may have been responsible for the massive cyber attack that hit Sony Pictures Entertainment on November 24. But North Korea has been coy about its possible involvement. Asked by the BBC whether the government was involved in the attack, a spokesman said only, "Wait and see." Other evidence, however, points to the possibility that the attack may have been engineered by current or former Sony employees familiar with the studio's computer systems and their contents. The latest disclosure also includes such minor revelations as that fact that Kevin Federline, Britney Spears' ex-husband, was paid $5,000 for a cameo in the movie, and that a table of weed, coke, pills, and panties, budgeted as a prop item at $250, came in at $241. The cyber attackers also have released salaries of the studio's top executives, as well as sensitive, informative, like Social Security numbers for more than 3,800 studio employees. On December 2nd, Sony Pictures Entertainment CEO Michael Linton and co-chairman Amy Pascal sent a studio personnel a memo calling the hack a brazen attack on our company, offering employees the service of an identity protection company and saying, quote, "We are working closely with law enforcement." AMC is moving forward with the controversial comic adaptation Preacher. The cable network, which recently abandoned unscripted fare to focus on original dramas, has picked up the project to pilot. Based on Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon's 1990 comic series from DC Comics imprint Vertigo, Preacher revolves around Reverend Jesse Colster, a badass Texas preacher who, after losing his faith, learns that God has left heaven and forsaken his duties. Jesse becomes the only one who is able to track down God and hold him responsible for his abdication. Tulip O'Hare, Jesse's beer-guzzling vampire ex-girlfriend, accompanies him on his quest for answers, but the story doesn't end there. The Saints of Killers, an immortal killing machine and Western lone gunman type, is hot on their trail with his sights set on Jesse. This is the end duo Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg and Breaking Bad Sam Catlin are adapting the comic for AMC via Sony Pictures Television. James Weaver will oversee the project, which was written by Catlin. Rogen and Goldberg will direct. Preacher marks the second TV project for Rogen and Goldberg's Point Grey. The duo also are attached to executive-produced FX animated comedy pilot Bigfoot, which is based on the books by Graham Rimelow. Joe Stillerman, AMC's Executive Vice President of Original Programming, says, "Every once in a while you'll find a project where all the elements line up beautifully." With Preacher, it starts with a bold, compelling, and thought-provoking comic book series from Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon and a whole lot of fans who already know Jesse Colster, Cassidy, and Tulip. He also add to that the passion and talented Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and Sam Catlin, an incredible production team, and Neil Moritz, the original films team, and our good friends at Sony Picture Television, and we have everything we need to be very excited to move forward on Preacher. Academy Award-winning nominee actor Jonah Hill has closed the deal to star in Arms and the Dudes, a Warner Brothers crime comedy being directed by Todd Phillips. The casting in the first concrete attachment to the project, which has seen both Shia LaBeouf and Jesse Eisenberg flirt with it. However, Eisenberg's availability recently shifted. The actor is playing Lex Luthor in the studio's Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, and commitments to that movie, as well as potential appearing in another DC Entertainment-based movie, Suicide Squad, took him out for the running. LaBeouf also moved on, although his talks never progressed beyond courting. The studio then turned to Hill. The Wolf of Wall Street actor was already well acquainted with the project, having done table reads months ago, while the script, co-written by Phillips and Jason Smilovic, was still being worked on. Dudes is based on Guy Lawson's Rolling Stone article, which followed two stoners from Miami Beach who end up becoming armed dealers for the U.S. government. Phillips is producing with Bradley Cooper, Mark Gordon Brian Zurif is executive producing. Jesse Ehrman and John Gonda are overseeing for the studio. Per usual, the December box office will ring in with a whimper as Hollywood studios take a break before the Christmas crush. With no new wide releases this weekend, The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 is poised to stay at number 1 for the third consecutive weekend, with the weekend take in the 20 million to 25 million range from a domestic total north of $250 million. There is, however, action at the specialty box office, where Jean-Marc Valley's Wild, starring Reese Witherspoon, opens Wednesday in New York and Los Angeles. On Friday, the drama, based on Cheryl Stratton's memoir of hiking more than 1,100 miles of the Pacific Crest Trail, opens in 5 additional cities: San Francisco, Chicago, Toronto, Phoenix, and Washington, D.C. And 20th Century Fox rolls out the found footage horror pick The Pyramid in 500 theaters. Directed by Gregory Levasseur, the movie stars Ashley Henshaw, Dennis O'Hare, James Buckley, and Daniel Emmerman as a group of archaeologists who discover a vast pyramid buried under the Egyptian desert. After Mockingjay, DreamWorks Animation and Fox's Penguins of Madagascar should place number 2 in its sophomore outing. New Line's Horrible Bosses 2 hopes to improve its standing, but could stay at number 5 behind Big Hero 6 and Interstellar. The action heats up at the box office on December 12th when Ridley Scott's biblical epic Exodus: Gods and Kings hits theaters, followed on December 17th by Peter Jackson's The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, and on December 19th by The Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, and Annie. A slew of films then open on Christmas Day, including Into the Woods and Unbroken. Hollywood is hoping for a bountiful holiday season after a troubled November, with revenue falling more than 9% over November 2013. Jimmy Fallon got an early holiday present on Wednesday with the arrival of Frances Cole, his second daughter, with producer-wife Nancy Juvian. According to a statement obtained by The Hollywood Reporter, Baby Franny, as the Tonight Show host adorably nicknamed his new nugget in a tweet, weighed 5 pounds 11 ounces upon her arrival and was born via a surrogate, just like her 16-month-old big sister Winnie. The couple chose to keep the impending birth under wraps until the story came to town, which it did at 8:45 a.m. on Wednesday, December 3rd. E-Online reports that The Tonight Show has canceled tapings through December 5th. HBO's Steve McQueen drama pilot is bringing in some big names to round out the cast. Code of Conduct is described as a provocative exploration of young African-American Beverly Snow, played by Devin Terrell, experience entering New York's high society with a past that may not be what it seems. Oscar nominee Helena Bonham Carter, who starred in The King's Speech and The Wings of the Dove, will co-star as Esther Kaufman, a woman born into a prominent Jewish family in Manhattan who is an author and a psychiatrist. The divorced mother of 2 grown boys, she is now living on her own terms that could change dramatically after she crossed paths with the enigmatic Snow. Should Code of Conduct moves to a series, it would mark Bonham Carter's first series regular role. She is repped by WME, Felker, Toxic, and Conway Van Gelder in the UK. Rebecca Hall, who starred in Parade's End, Vicky Cristina Barcelona in The Town, is set as Rebecca Raumensian, the eldest child of a New York billionaire. The smart, educated Rebecca will emerge as Beverly's foremost rival, his equal in guile and ruthlessness. McQueen, who directed 12 Years a Slave, co-wrote the pilot script along with World War II's Matthew Michael Carnahan. Both will executive produce alongside Seesaw Films' Ian Canning and Emil Sherman, who also executive produced The King's Speech and The Top of the Lake, and Russell Simmons, via the latter's overall deal with HBO. McQueen will direct the pilot, his first foray into television. Kenny and Sherman produced McQueen's Shame, with the former also executive producing the Oscar winner's feature debut, Hunger. Bonham Carter's casting reunites her with King's Speech's Sherman. The duo joined a cast that also includes Paul Dano as Jared, a hip yet altrusive entrepreneur who brings Snow into his foil. Ian McLagen, the electrifying pianist and songwriter of the British bands The Small Faces and later The Faces, who became a rock and roll journeyman with stints backing Rod Stewart, the Rolling Stones, and others, died on Wednesday in Austin, Texas, due to complications from a stroke suffered a day earlier. He was 69 years old. A statement said he was surrounded by family and friends in his adopted hometown. They said in the statement, Ian's artistry, generosity, and warmth of spirit touched countless of other musicians and music fans around the world. His loss will be felt by so many. An active musician, in 2014, McLagen and his bump band released the album in the United States. He recorded with the Empty Hearts featuring Elliot Easton of The Cars and Clem Burke of Blondie, and was about to tour with Nick Lowe on his Quality Holiday review. Lowe was in Minneapolis when the tour started December 3rd, and in an interview with the Minnesota Public Radio's The Current, he said, "As we all know, he was a fellow who loved life, and there was no question of us not carrying on with the tour." The outpouring of respect for McLagen could be felt on Twitter, as musicians, among them Joe Walsh, Alejandro Escovedo, and Lucinda Williams, shared their respect and admiration for him. "What a joyous player," wrote Ben Tench, the keyboardist for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, king of the Wurlitzer, giants of the Hammond and the rock and roll piano, terrific memorialist. Damn, damn, damn. Billy Bragg, who hired McLagen for records and tours in the late 90s and early 2000s, wrote, "I have lost a dear friend, and British rock has lost one of its greatest players." Burke issued a statement on behalf of the Empty Hearts. "We'll remain forever grateful to him for lending his legendary talent to our work and his enthusiastic support of our efforts, but more so for his legacy as the exemplary man and musician he was. Our thoughts go out to his family and loved ones. Today our hearts are empty." A native of Middlesex, England, he learned the piano as a child and became enthralled with the organ at the age of 13 after hearing Booker T and the MGs. He made his first recording, a single, in 1965 as a member of the Mullet Skinners, before joining Small Faces, playing organ and electric keyboards behind singer-guitarist Steve Marriott and bassist-singer Ronnie Lane. He saw them as a soul band, though its influence was keenly felt among psychedelic acts that followed them. Marriott left in 1969 with Rod Stewart and Ronnie Wood taking his place, and the unit of McLagen, Stewart, Lane, Wood, and Kenny Jones became known for their heavy drinking. The band made a habit of sounding like an act that could implode at any minute. Stewart said in the Rhino box set, "Five guys walk into a bar. We were a fine drinking band, and most of our best work was done in the pub." McLagen wrote "Cindy Incidentally" and "You're So Rude," but his defining moment came on their 1971 track "Stay With Me," as a hard-charging a record as the Faces ever made, and the one closest to their high-energy live style. McLagen joined the Rolling Stones to record "Some Girls" in 1978 and toured with them as well. Highlights among the multiple recordings he appeared on included Chuck Berry's London Sessions, Carly Simon's "Spy," Bonnie Raitt's "Green Light," and Bruce Springsteen's "Human Touch," and "Lucky Town." He toured with Bob Dylan in 1984. McLagen formed his first edition of the Bump Band in 1979, recording "Troublemaker" for Mercury. Yep Rock re-released the Some Bump Band album in the United States in June. After moving to Austin 20 years ago, McLagen worked extensively with Americana artists, among them James McMurtry, the Leroy Brothers, Robert Earl Keen, and Patty Griffin. The Faces and the Small Faces were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2012, a double induction that did not sit well with McLagen. "It was nice to be thought of, but damn it, it's too little, way too late," he told the Austin Chronicle. "If that sounds like I'm ungrateful, then so be it." McLagen was 69 years old. And some other sad news in music. Bobby Keys, the Texas-born tenor saxophonist whose bold and bluesy sound made him the single most vital auxiliary member of the Rolling Stones from the 1970s forward, died Tuesday at his home in Franklin, Tennessee. He was 70. His family confirmed the death on Facebook without giving a cause. He had been fighting cirrhosis of the liver. With a unique, powerful sound that was more rock and roll than R&B, Keys made a name for himself with a solo on Dion's The Wanderer in 1961, which led to more studio work, most of it uncredited. In the 1970s, he became a go-to saxophonist for British rock royalty, performing on the Rolling Stones hit Brown Sugar and Tumbling Dice, and touring with Joe Cocker's Mad Dogs and Englishmen entourage, recording with John Lennon, Eric Clapton, and as a member of the Plastic Ono Band. Stateside, he would record with Harry Nilsson, Warren Zevon, Sheryl Crow, and others. His career began in his teen years on tours with Buddy Holly, Bobby Vee, and Dick Clark's Caravan of Stars. He befriended Keith Richards, with whom he shares the birthday of December 18th, and Mick Jagger, both in 1964, though it would not be until 1969 that he would appear on the Rolling Stones album. Richards, in his book Live, called Keys his closest pal, a soul of rock and roll, a solid man, and a depraved maniac, wrote Richards, who employed Keys on his solo projects as well. Their friendship and musical collaboration would span more than 4 decades. Keys played on all of the Rolling Stones albums from 1969's Let It Bleed to 1974's Only Rock and Roll, and performed with the band on nearly every tour from 1970 forward, including the recent 14 on Fire tour. He stopped touring with the band in October. Keys released 2 solo albums, a self-titled instrumental album that featured Ringo Starr, George Harrison, and Clapton, and Give Me the Key, with Starr released on his Ringo Records in 1975. In recent years, he has led the band The Suffering Bastards with Dan Bard of the Georgia Satellites and other rock veterans. Keys wrote his autobiography Every Night's a Saturday Night, which was published in 2012. In lieu of flowers and gifts, the family asked that contributions be made to the St. Jude's Children's Research and the Humane Society in his honor. Keys was 70 years old. And that is your entertainment report for Wednesday, December 3rd, 2014. I'm your host, Mr. Downtown Ray Mello. I'll be back tomorrow to deliver some of the major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook or on Twitter, facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Mello, that's RAYMELO, or on Twitter @The Enter Report. You can listen to this episode or any previous episodes of the show on iHeartRadio. Just go search for The Entertainment Report and it'll take you to the page. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.